Welcome to the Donut Club. I'm EJ Mo, and today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite Bible stories. And it's not my favorite because of any personal reasons. Well, actually it does. My name appears in the story once, but it's something. So this is after Isaac is born, and Abraham has this son God finally promised. And in Genesis chapter 22, it says, "Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, 'Abraham.'" It's a great way to get somebody's attention. Call their name. "Here I am," he replied. Then Abraham said, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah." That's my name. "Go to the region of Moriah, sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about." So there's this, I feel like this is fairly traumatic news. So he has this son, and we don't know how much later, just sometime later. God's like, "Hey, Abraham, I need you to go sacrifice your son." Early the next morning, Abraham got up and saddled his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. So he woke up really early the next morning. Like, his obedience was just boom. God told him one day, the next day he's going off to find this place God showed him. But he didn't just wake up early to go on just a hike. A 3-day hike. I mean, I already don't like to wake up in the mornings. But having to wake up in the morning and go hiking for 3 days, I'm good. I've got a house to live in. I don't need to go on a 3-day hike. And he said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." I had to stop here to make a comment. It says, "We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Somehow Abraham had enough faith knowing that even though God told him to sacrifice Isaac, that Isaac was going to come back with him, whether or not it was by him sparing him or that God was going to raise him from the dead. Because Abraham was promised that through Isaac, he will be blessed. So he knew Isaac was the one, and he had faith that God was going to fulfill that even if Isaac died. But he said, "We will come back," not just him. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife, as the 2 of them went on together. Isaac spoke up and said to his father Abraham, "Father." "Yes, my son," Abraham replied. "The fire and the wood are here," Isaac said, "but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" I mean, if I was Isaac, I'd be getting really nervous. Because in that day and time, people did sacrifice their kids. It wasn't unheard of. It was completely and utterly ridiculous to do that, but for some reason people thought it was a good idea. But I mean, he's starting to get a little nervous. He's like, "So we have wood and we have fire, but what are we going to sacrifice?" And his dad said, Abraham answered, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." And the 2 of them went on together. When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. To stop here at the most suspenseful. I got to stop here at the most suspenseful part of the story. So somehow Isaac just let his dad tie him up and put him on here because, I mean, come on. Abraham's over 100 years old. There's no way he's going to be able to chase a kid around. I mean, there might be a way, but still. I feel like Isaac could definitely outrun Abraham. But for some reason, Isaac just went with it. Which would, like, I don't know, I'd freak out. I would have run. But for some reason, he didn't. And then Abraham has the knife, and he's about to kill his son. And then the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. But if I was in Abraham's position, and I'm about to kill somebody, you know, I would kind of be afraid already. And then somebody else, like, coming up behind me and being like, Abraham, Abraham, like, and this wouldn't just be some normal voice, it's a booming voice. I mean, it's a messenger of God. I mean, come on. You know, they're usually really bright and shining and freaks people out all throughout the Bible. You can look at whenever angels go talk to people, they're afraid. And then Abraham is, like, holding this knife, and I would have, like, probably dropped the knife and it landed on my foot or something. But, you know, for some reason, he didn't, like, freak out that much. Here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there, in a thicket, he saw a ram, caught by his horns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the place, the Lord will provide. And to this day it is said, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. The angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this, and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations of the earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me. Then Abraham returned to his servants, and they set off together for Beersheba, and Abraham stayed in Beersheba. Now some people wonder, why would God even ask somebody to sacrifice their son? But God never intended for Isaac to be sacrificed. At the very first verse, it said that God tested Abraham. He wasn't going to take that sacrifice. God hates children being sacrificed. Throughout the Bible, we read that. God never intended for that to happen. This was to push Abraham's faith, basically to the next level. Abraham had so much faith that God was going to do what he promised. He was willing to give up everything, even his only son, which he had to wait 100 years for. I mean, and that's a long time. Most people don't even live that long. But he waited that long, and he was even willing to give that up to please God, to do what God wanted him to do. And that's my donut hole. But also apply it directly to your life. Are you willing to give up everything for Christ? Because he gave up everything to come here to get you. Man, God loves you. Don't let anything or anybody stand in the way of your relationship with God. That's it for the Donut Club today. I don't know. Until next time, go eat a donut.